Question becomes, can they win 2 out of 3 the rest of the way? And we can debate that. But if they do that, what they have done since they've made the move for Blake Griffin, and everybody else continues to win at their same pace, which, I mean, they won't, but just to put it into some perspective, they will finish with 45 wins and 2 games out of the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference. Okay, now.
So that would give them the 7th seed.
It would give them the 7th seed, yes. And that would put them in a first-round matchup, most likely with Boston or Toronto, which, by the way, is not the place you want to be. You want to be to the 6th seed where you get a shot at Cleveland. Washington, obviously, with the critical injury to John Wall. Milwaukee would be a tough out, but whatever. I'd love to play Milwaukee because that means you're probably in the 5 seed or the 4 seed or whatever. But 2 games behind Indiana for the coveted 6th spot. Do I believe that this team is capable of a deep playoff run? No. Do I believe it's worth making the playoffs? Yes. Do I think it's worth making the playoffs? And only if you really have a shot to win a round? Kind of, yeah. I don't want to be first-round fodder for Toronto or Boston. And yet, so I've set the bar at the 6th seed. Get to the 6th seed, I think, should be the goal for this team. And at their current pace, if Indiana keeps winning the way they're winning and everybody else kind of keeps winning the way they've been winning for most of the year, then they'll come up 2 games short of that goal. It doesn't mean it's impossible, but that's what it would get them.
That's if they continue at the pace that they're at.
If they continue, and it's a small sample size, right? I get it. This isn't hard science data. I'm coming to the table saying, here's what's going to happen.
So that's roughly going, 16-9 they can get to that point? Is that what you're saying, or
yes.
No? 16-9.
I got to know they'd be closer to. They'd be 16 points. I did the math that they're at a 667 winning percentage. They go 17-8.
Okay, so
they'd be closer. They're like 16.75. Yeah, we're giving them 45 wins.
And I can see that given it looks. I think the Pistons will end up overtaking Miami.
Do you?
For the 8th spot? Philadelphia, it looks like they can get things together if Embiid can keep playing in back-to-back games, and they should be in good shape because I think it's a team that can be a lot better. Because there are all these games in front of them with all these teams that have to play each other as well, is there enough going on? Can there be enough attrition and the Pistons playing well to move up? And I'm with you. I kind of think that they need to get into the 6th spot if they want to have a chance at winning a playoff round. And even then, it's no guarantee because, boy, the Cavaliers are playing good basketball now. It's almost like there's no way that this team can win a 7-game series in the opening round because if they do get to the playoffs, they'll play Toronto, Boston, or Cleveland. For me, do I want them to make the playoffs? Of course I want them to make the playoffs. I'm tired of not seeing our teams in the playoffs. Yes, I want to see them in the playoffs, even if it means that they'll lose. Yeah. And I guess also because that first-round pick that goes to the Clippers, if the Pistons make the playoffs, that means it's no longer this top 12 pick. Let's have a shot at lottery. It ends up being a pick later in the draft, then I'll feel better about that.
Here's the thing. If you're a 7 or 8 seed, I don't think you have much of a chance of advancing. However, I'd rather be a 7 or 8 seed than in the lottery. In the lottery, they'd have a 2.5% chance of holding on to their pick. If they stayed in the 8th spot in the East, or their current positioning is like 13th out of 15 teams, whatever it is, it's 2 from the bottom. It'd be roughly a 2.5% chance. It might be a 2.8% chance or a 1.9% chance. Not making the playoffs, it's virtually you're not going to win the league.
Sure, but if they get in as the 8th seed, and you have that 2.8%, if you get in as the 8th seed, you have no chance of lottery because you're not in the lottery. What chance do you have of winning in the first round?
I actually think it's better than a 2.5% chance.
Nobody's done it.
I know.
So I think it's probably a 0% chance.
Well, it's 0% that's ever happened, but I'm saying
right.
That doesn't mean it's a 0% chance.
It's never happened. No, I can't see it.
I'd rather take my chances with that because the difference is negligible. I'd rather be in the playoffs and be in the dance and give it a shot.
I mean, from a fan's perspective, I want to see them have the chance.
Yeah.
Even though I don't think they have a chance, but I'd like to see them have the opportunity.
It doesn't help them to not make the playoffs because they're not getting their pick anyway.
Then there's of course, is the perfect storm.
Well, the perfect
storm is they don't make the playoffs, but they get the lottery pick.
Well, see, I think the perfect storm is they get to the 6th seed.
I don't at all. Then you're playing Cleveland?
Yeah, I'm okay with playing
or Boston or Toronto still. I don't.
It's probably Cleveland. I've yet to believe that Cleveland's going to. We'll see.
Well, they're playing it so different now.
I know, but we'll see. So were the Pistons right after the Blake trade.
Yeah, well, look who they played and when they played them.
Yeah, well, that's if you're to pick one of those 3 teams to play, who you want to play? Toronto, Boston, or Cleveland?
Toronto.
Okay, I'd rather play Cleveland.
I don't know.
I've yet to. I'm fully buying into Cleveland.
Who'd you rather see him play if they had to pick those 3 teams?
3 teams that are better than the Pistons?
Yeah,
Boston,
right.
Toronto, or Cleveland. Who would you like to play if you're looking for an upset?
I'd throw Toronto just because they never. I mean, they're a really good regular season team, and they usually win a round or 2 in the playoffs, but they never make it to anything beyond that. So, and I think Cleveland, we know what they can do with LeBron. Boston with Kyrie. Kyrie's been there before, but Boston necessarily hasn't. With that being said, I would take Toronto. I'll take my chances with Toronto.
You guys are both fools.
Well, obviously.
Would you rather make the playoffs as a 7 or 8 seed or take your chances in the lottery, which, by the way, the chances in the lottery is a 2.5% chance as it stands right now. It could move, but it would move very, very little if you keep in your pick.
Let's get the conspiracy theory going.
What's the conspiracy?
Wouldn't the NBA want the Pistons to win the lottery? Look, they just shipped over this high-profile player from L.A. They've got a brand spanking new arena here in Detroit. We've had glory years before where the Pistons have sold out game after game after game in 2 different eras. Wouldn't the NBA want the Detroit Pistons to rise up again?
Well, you're really
Get that
selling
lottery
that hard.
Yeah, I don't believe that they fix things anymore. So
anymore?
Well,
you believe it happened before, huh?
cold envelope.
Okay. 248-539-9797. Pistons since the Blake trade 6-3. If they win 2 out of 3 the rest of the way, and everybody else keeps winning at their current paces, they'll be the 6th seed. That's if they win 2 out of 3 the rest of the way. And we can dive into the schedule a little bit. I mean, the schedule is 12 of 25 against playoff teams, and I think 4 of the 12 are teams in a 7 or 8 spot. So, you know, that speaks to lower end playoff caliber teams that, quite frankly, if you're a playoff team, you should beat those. If you're good enough to make some noise, you should beat them. So I almost feel like, you know, making a run at the 6th seed is a goal. It's an attainable goal. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be a lot of, they're really going to have to play well. They're going to have to integrate Reggie well. They went through a really, really bad stretch here and yet bounced back. And got the win last night, which was nice, and they should beat Atlanta, I know. But it's what keeps this season interesting. It's what keeps this season interesting. 248-539-9797, ticket text 97136. If the Pistons make it to the playoffs, they would smack the crap out of the Celtics. That's from an unnamed texter. Next one. I don't think the Pistons will even make the playoffs. Blake and Andre can't do it themselves. Stan needs to figure out how to get a good guard to help these guys in the offseason and package Jackson in the deal, as he is not the answer.
Well, they play much better with Reggie Jackson in the lineup. And they're still probably 2 weeks away from Reggie playing for this team, and it's going to take him a while to get back to it.
With so many limits, their games are limited. You put out the schedule already. 25 games left.
Yep.
The best thing might be for this team, and I don't necessarily want this because I actually want them to make the playoffs at a decent seed, like 6 or higher. The best thing that might happen for this team is if Blake has a slight injury that causes him to miss the rest of the season, like a rolled ankle or something, and they get a lottery pick and get like a Trae Young, and Blake's 100% healthy next year, and they can roll something out decent.
Okay, are you basing that on the 2.5%?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, they got to lose to get that 2.5 to 2.7 or whatever it is they could be. Or the more you lose, obviously, the higher chance you get of a lottery. Without Blake, this team's got nothing.
You know what's funny about this is I suppose that I could do the exact same thing and invert it. Like, talk about how far they could drop. Could they realistically lose all those games to playoff teams, go less than 500 the rest of the way? How far could they drop? I don't think they could drop any more than 2-3 spots, which would, let me see what I can.
Well, I mean, Charlotte's 4 games behind the Pistons.
Yeah, but I think Charlotte could pass them if everything goes wrong.
I think Charlotte's pretty bad.
We're talking about if everything goes wrong, Blake gets hurt, et cetera, et cetera.
How far can they drop, and how high can their percentages get to get in the lottery?
Right.
Top 3?
Realistically speaking, I only think they could drop 2 spots.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's that.
I don't even know if it's that.
I don't think they drop at all.
But
it's about 3% maybe to get a top 3 pick.
Yeah,
if they don't make the playoffs.
It's about 3%. Which is brutal. I mean, I get it.
Yeah, because you have teams that are really committed to getting in this lottery. Phoenix, Dallas, Sacramento, and Memphis all have 18 wins, as do Atlanta and Orlando. And the Nets have 19. That's 7 teams with 19 wins or less at this point in the season. The Pistons have 28 wins.
Yeah, that's a real commitment to
These
sucking.
teams are absolutely... Look, who didn't play for the Hawks last night? They didn't have
anyone.
There were like 3 guys.
3 starters were out last night.
3 guys that helped beat the Pistons the other night were not playing last night. And there were 3 guys that had a major role in beating the Pistons the other night, but didn't get it done last night.
248-539-9797. It's Karsch and Anderson, 97.1.